Hi, friends. Welcome to the Mastermind Moments podcast.
Hosted by your pals, Josh and Sasha.
Join us during our weekly mastermind as we collaborate on how to make the most out of our lives.
Not only are we going to mastermind our careers, we're going to work on all areas of life together.
Let's do it. Listen in as we make the most of our mastermind moments.
Hi, hi. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I've actually just had a complete outburst of drama in my life over the last hour. I completely
Oh, no.
word, but we can get into that later.
Let's talk about it. No, let's talk about it now. What happened?
So, so I went out for a dog walk. So I'm dog
Okay.
again this week. I've got my little dog here with me while my mum's in Australia. She's away for a month. So he's here in this tiny little flat, and I was like, I need to take him out for as many walks as possible because otherwise he'll just go mad in here. So I have been, and I left at about 12 o'clock, bit after 12 o'clock to take him for a walk, and the place was looking immaculate. There was a little bit of dog hair here and there, but otherwise it was looking absolutely fine. I come back about 20 minutes later, and I know one of my flatmates is at work. He's started at 6 a.m. this morning, so he was at work. And my other flatmate was in, but she was out when I got back. And I was only out for about 20, 30 minutes taking a quick walk. And I walk into the flat and do you guys say flat, by the way?
No,
But you know what it
but I know what you're
means.
talking about.
Okay, right.
Yeah, it's apartment.
Yeah, sure. I mean, we use
Yeah.
both. I don't know what the difference is. But anyway, so I walk into the apartment and there's stuff all over the carpet. I'm like, oh, it's like muddy because it's been raining a lot here recently. So I was like, it's just someone's just been wearing their shoes in the hallway, which is a little bit annoying, but it will hoover. So I get the Hoover out and I
It
start
will Hoover.
vacuum.
We have to have a list going of all of these differences in
That's
dialect.
one I didn't even think of. In my mind, like,
Hoover, I've
yeah,
never heard that before.
really? You've never heard that?
Yeah, never heard that, like, ever.
Do you have that word for something else?
No. My close friend's last name is Hoover,
Oh, okay.
but that's it. That's the only thing I was thinking of.
Right, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that's yeah, so I was vacuuming, sorry, and
Do you say wait, hoovering? Is that what you would say?
hoovering, yeah,
Oh, okay, okay.
and the vacuum cleaner is a hoover.
That's so funny.
I wonder why that's different. I mean, it's such a huge difference. I mean, we say
I
vacuum as
know.
well, but not really. Everyone here would say hoover.
That's so funny, and I don't know when I would ever hear that word in the UK, but yeah, I know there's vacuum hoover, flat apartment, there was this other one. Oh, ornament and knickknack
Oh, yeah.
last week. Okay, so you take out the hoover.
Yeah, so I take out the vacuum and, and I start hoovering, and there is if you laugh, I can't okay, anyway.
Continue.
It sucks up all of the sort of mud, there's a couple of leaves, and then there's a bit left over, and I'm like, "What the fuck? What the hell is that?" There's something still on the carpet, and I looked around the hallway, and I was like, "It's dripped throughout the whole hallway, whatever this is." And I look down, I get down on my knees to see what it is, and it's stained, like, it's ink. It looks like ink. And I was like, so in the 20, 30 minutes that I've gone, my flatmate has somehow dripped ink or whatever it is, it's like black throughout the hallway and then just left without doing anything. And so I texted her because I knew it came from her, not my other flatmate because he was at work. I said, "Do you have
Yeah.
any idea what this is?" And she was like, "Oh, I didn't notice that." Okay. I said, "But it must have been you because it wasn't me. I've just been out. It wasn't there when I left, and our other flatmate is out at the moment." And anyway, this whole not argument, borderline argument ensued over text, which isn't ideal. I literally, after speaking to you about this before, I put in our group chat and said, we need to sit down and have a meeting because, well, actually, I wrote that message after I got home the other day and the oven had been left on. You say oven, right?
Yeah.
So the oven had been left on and no one was in the apartment. I was like, "That's so dangerous," especially, I mean, if you look, like, my apartment is very wooden. That's so
Yeah.
dangerous, and also that my flatmates aren't paying bills. I'm paying all the bills, so that can cost a lot of money. So I
Okay.
put it in the group chat. I was like, we need to have a conversation. I actually ended up sitting down with the other flatmate for 2 hours 2 nights ago, and we just spoke for everything. And I was like, this is amazing. This is perfect. This is exactly what I wanted. And he's very receptive. The other one, not so much. Yeah, she was very fighting back, not accepting that she'd done wrong. And then I thought I was sitting at my desk while this was all texting away. And I was like, I'm going to go and check her room because if it was her and it was from her, I don't know what it is, but if it was her, then it would be in her room as well. And I go into her room and her carpet is covered in the stuff, like covered in this black, like blotch. And I get down on my knees just to see what it is, because if it's ink, you'd probably be able to smell it, right? If it's dog poo, you'd be able to smell it, but it's not. So I got down on my knees and it smelled really nice. Like it smelled like flowers, like roses. And I was
Okay.
like, what could this be? I mean, it's definitely her because it smelled like her. But I was like, "What could this be?" And I actually just ended up cooking my lunch and forgetting about it for a bit, and I went to put the pizza box that I cooked into the bin, the trash can, and it stank of that whatever was on the carpet. And I was like, "Okay, right, so something in this bin is what's on the carpet." So I started digging through and it was hair dye. So I found this hair dye that basically she dyes her hair probably once a week, and I've always
Once a week? Holy shit.
all the time.
Okay.
And I was stressed about her doing that because the whole place has carpet. And I was like, eventually this is going to end up in a stain, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, it has ended up in a stain. And so I texted her and I said, this needs to come out. This is serious because this is expensive carpet. It's not like it's a rug that I could just wash. It's the whole carpet throughout the whole apartment.
Yeah.
And it just blew up. And I spoke to the other flatmate in person a couple of nights ago. She's been too busy to talk to me. She vowed to talk to me today, but then she went out for lunch when we were meant to talk for lunch. So it just blew up. And then she was basically saying things about the contract and wanting to see the contract. It's turned a little bit ugly, to be honest.
Oh god. Okay.
Yeah. So that's a bit crazy.
Okay. I mean, you broke the first rule we talked about, which is don't fucking do this over text, bro.
Who?
Like, literally, we had this conversation saying, okay, like, it's when you have to have this confrontational conversation, doing it over text makes it so much worse because you guys are misconstruing each other's tone and everything. So,
Yes.
I
No, I
would
know.
definitely say next time be like, "Hey, I noticed this thing. We need to talk. We needed to chat through everything, but let's just add this to the list of things we got to chat about."
Yeah. Well, yeah, okay, true. I got home the other day and I saw the oven was on and I was so pissed off about it that I immediately but I didn't I was typing up a message saying who did this. Then I thought, no, I'm going to use this as an opportunity to call a house meeting. And I did, and that was it. And I said, there's been some serious security and safety concerns in the apartment recently. We need to talk. Like, all three of us need to sit down and talk about house rules.
Yeah.
And they were both receptive, but they weren't both free at the same time. So eventually, the other flatmate, he came into my room and said, "Do you want to just talk now?" And we did, and it was fine.
Okay.
With
And this 3rd roommate is okay, you don't have any issues with them?
you mean the one that came to talk to?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, not really. I mean, historically, so the first month or so, he was a bit of a nightmare, but everything I've asked him to do, he does it,
Okay.
and he's stuck to it. Whereas the other one, actually, I think because we're slightly closer, she feels that it's okay to fight back and fight back. So yeah, it is not ideal.
Okay. Wow.
But then that whole thing
Wow.
happened with the hair dye, and I was gonna just wait for her to come back later and say, "Let's have a chat." But I was so anxious about it. I was like, "I wanna know what it is. I wanna make sure it comes out. I need to get this sorted." And I was just stressing over it, so I was like, "I need to say something." And then we can talk about it more in person later, but then it ended up just blowing up.
Oh my
The
god.
conversation has ended, though, with she sent me a long message saying, "I'm really struggling in London at the moment. This is a new place for me, and I'm finding it really hard to settle in, and it feels like we've lost our friendship recently. All you ever do is ask me to do stuff or message me when you need something." And I found that a little bit upsetting because it's true, we were very close, and then recently, because I've got a girlfriend now, I'm out with her most of the time,
Yeah.
and my other flatmate is working most of the time, so I don't get to spend as much time with her as I used to, and
Right?
it was quite sad, it's quite a sad message. I went back to her and I said, "Listen, I care about you. I care about our friendship deeply. Let's talk about this in person. I don't want to cause issues here. Let's just talk about things in person and just iron it all out."
Yeah, and I do think for roommate meetings, it's really helpful to get out of the apartment, get out of the shared mutual space, especially since it's home. It's like the what's the phrase in sports where it's like home field?
Mm,
Home it's home field for
yeah.
is that the
Home
right
home
term?
field,
It's
home
home
stadium, yeah.
Yeah, it's your home stadium, so it's you have the advantage, which isn't really fair, but especially if you guys have a friendship, it might be really helpful to go out and go for a walk or go get a drink or something, or I mean, not a drink because 'cause you're not drinking, but go get something, just go out of the apartment and, like, make it fun almost. Go do something fun together to reignite the friendship, but then also to have the conversation.
Yeah, that's something she suggested recently, not off the back of you haven't been making enough of an effort with me, or all you ever do is ask me about the apartment. She actually just messaged me and said, "Josh, I haven't spent time with you in ages. Let's get dinner this week." And that was a couple of weeks ago now, and it didn't happen. But I
Yeah,
think we should do that. I think that's a good idea.
absolutely, and
Yeah.
if you can include the 3rd roommate too, like, I remember when I don't know what year I did this, but it's always good, like, once a month, once every couple months to have, connecting with your roommates in a fun way
Yeah.
is really helpful. You guys can go out and do something fun and then chat about the roommate shit that you guys have to bring up, and it creates these healthy systems that
Yeah. That's interesting. Actually, Savita, my girlfriend, her flatmates are a bit of a nightmare as well, a massive nightmare. I mean, her apartment is disgusting. It is really
oh,
gross. And
yeah.
she's actually moving in here next week, but
Wait.
temporarily,
Oh.
for about a month, so a while, but
Okay, but that's like a good testing
it is, and it'll
yeah,
be interesting. I mean, there's no space for her to move in as things stand. If she wanted to move in the future, she would have to I'd have to kick one of my flatmates out, and she would have to rent one of those rooms effectively, because there's no
it
s
sounds like you just need to do your closet purge. It sounds like she needs more than 1 drawer. It sounds like you're like, "Oh, I can't throw any of my clothing away," so she just has to take another
Oh, you
room.
just called me out. Don't tell her that.
I'm just unhinged today. Also, I realized in the beginning, but I haven't said anything, that Josh made his name Joshy
Oh,
Poos.
can you see that?
Yeah,
I didn't
I
realize you
love
can I can see yours as
it.
well. I didn't realize you could see that.
Mine's just says
Yeah, I
Sasha.
know. I've never seen
Okay,
that. I
wait.
didn't know.
We wait, so anyway, Savita's roommates.
Oh, yeah, so they're disgusting, and we're going so off track. They are it's a really nasty apartment, but she is moving out. Their lease is coming to an end, and she hasn't found anything, but she has potentially found something to move into in November, hence why she's gonna move here for a month, which will be very
Okay.
interesting. But
Yeah,
they, a couple of months ago, or once every couple of months since she moved in, they've made a point to go out for drinks. Just one evening, they set a date every couple of months, and they go out
yeah,
for drinks, and they're fairly close as a result, as disgusting as they are. They get on socially.
yeah.
With my flatmates, I think since we moved in, other than the one who's causing the problems now, who I won't name, but she will eventually listen to this and know who she is.
Of course, of course.
I have gone out for dinner and stuff with him. It's literally I just see him around the apartment. That's it, and we chat every now and then for maybe 20 minutes. But I've never
Yeah.
actually gone out and been social with him, and he suggested it recently. He said we should actually go out and get a drink. I think that's a really good idea. I think that
Yeah,
could be a
go
bit of
out
a
the
game
3
changer.
of you if you can. Go out the 3 of you and, like, once every couple months, once a month, once every other month, go out and have a fun time with your roommates. It's also really important, the people you live with, it really makes or breaks your entire I'm not gonna share this story now, but one day I'll save this one in my back pocket for a day that we have nothing to chat about, but Josh knows I have lived with a nightmare roommate situation. Really horrible. Like, we were best friends, started a company together, like, the whole thing. It was a disaster. And after we had our friendship and co-founder breakup, we had to live together for 6 months after, and when you walk into an apartment that has toxic energy, it really ruins the rest of your life because if you're not comfortable in your home space, it bleeds into everything else.
Of course, and
Yeah.
it does. I mean, my life at the moment, I can't complain too much. There's certain areas which we can talk about, a bit later on, that I am finding hard at the moment, but generally speaking, I'm pretty happy. But
Yeah.
my home environment is suffering at the moment because
Right.
I'm stressed, I'm worried about upsetting them, which obviously I have done today, but I want things to be a certain way, and this is yes, it's their place too, but this is my apartment. At the end of the day, is I'm the owner, I'm the landlord.
Yeah.
And so I do want things a certain way, and I don't want stains all over the carpet. I don't think it's too much to ask.
Of course.
And it does impact everything else because right now I feel a little bit trapped in my room. Unless I go out, I feel a little bit anxious to leave my room because I don't want to see them at the moment.
I know exactly what that's I know
Horrible.
exactly what that's like. It's the worst thing, especially when you own the place, like, it's the worst when you're in your home environment, which is basically what happened with my old roommate. We'll have to make a name for her.
Would she ever
Um,
listen to this? Probably not, right?
n I highly doubt it. I highly doubt it. I think we're both very content, like, never hearing from each other. I still check it. I still look at her social media every once in a while just because I really I wanna know that she's thriving in her life, like, I see she has a boyfriend, and I'm like, "Thank fucking God." I'm just excited for her.
We'll follow each other.
No,
Oh, okay,
not at
right.
all.
She unfollowed me a
I
while
just
ago.
Oh, yeah, I just don't. We'll call her something. We'll have to come up with these, like, creative names.
Yeah,
We can call her Blondie. Blondie, same thing. I When Blondie and I were going through our whole situation, I wouldn't leave my room. Like, I couldn't leave my room, and the living room and the kitchen became so tense because if one of us came out of our room and the other one was there, it was like, I don't wanna see you."
yeah.
Ugh, it just made my life so much worse for 5 seconds.
Honestly, that's
So,
exactly how it is at the moment. I
yeah.
With Owen, I'll name the names. It's okay. They won't care at the end of the day. But with Owen, who I'm on good terms with, I don't mind. I'll step out. We'll bump into each other in the kitchen. We'll chat for a bit. We kind of respect each other's space, and he doesn't want to talk for too long. I don't want to talk for too long, and we'll chat, catch up for a bit, and then we're men. We don't want just the small talk and meta report.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas with the other flatmate right now, because we're not on great terms, I hear her on the phone in the kitchen and I'm like, God, I really want to go and get lunch, but I can't. I can't because I don't want to see her. But yeah, that needs to change because this is her home as well right now, and we all need to be happy here. And that's actually
Yeah.
what I said to Owen the other day when we had this meeting. He was saying he's actually started the conversation by saying, Josh, listen, this is your place. I want you to be happy. And I said, "Yeah, it is. Yes, technically, you're right. It is my place, but this is all of our place. We all live here. Be happy, and we need to come to a compromise on everyone. We just need to make the rules that make us all happy."
Yeah, exactly. Empower them to also be a part of the conversation and a part of making it a home. So, I'm putting it on your homework list to have a roommate meeting with the 2 of them. Go out and do something fun, but then chat
I
through
think,
what's happening
I
in
think
person.
after I speak to Rochelle today, and just talk through what just hash things out today. I think I will then put in our group chat and say, "When are you both free? Let's get a drink or go for dinner or something."
Yeah, I think so. I think it's gonna help a lot. I think it's gonna help a lot.
Yeah,
Alright. I know we're a little late on everything, but well, not late because these tangents are fucking awesome. Let's spin a wheel. Mm, okay. It's fun and recreation. What's a fun activity you used to enjoy as a child that you still love today?
do you know weirdly that feels like such a simple question, but I'm
Yeah.
really struggling with it. Do you have an answer?
Mm, I mean, I have, like, simple answers. Like, I like TV. TV has always been my self-soothing thing as a kid. Like, we never ate dinner at the dining table ever. My mom and I would always eat on the couch watching a show, like, always. Like, that's just how we wound down. Like, we would just put on the TV and watch something. and that's something I really enjoy now. That is my wind down time. Like, I love to watch a show or a movie. I'm trying to think if there's I mean, going to the movies is something I always enjoyed as a kid. I love going to the movies now. I'm trying to
How often
think
do you
if
go?
there's not often because the streaming, everything's accessible. There's a movie I wanted to see, not really. It was like the It Ends With Us movie with
Mm.
Blake Lively,
Yeah.
and I didn't read the book, but it looked interesting. I was like, "Okay, I wanna go see it," but then by the time, like, it's so much time has passed, I'm like, "Why go see it now
Yeah.
when it's gonna be on streaming soon?" But there are certain movies that if I look forward to seeing this movie, I make it a point to go see it in theaters. Like, for example, The Joker is gonna be coming
Oh,
out,
cool.
and I'm a huge Lady Gaga fan, okay? I've traveled the country for this woman 2 times. I've seen her probably 5 times, huge Gaga fan. Paul and I loved the first Joker, so we will definitely be going to see that movie in person, and also Paul doesn't like the movies that much, so getting him to go to a movie is a little bit of a challenge. I saw Inside Out 2 by myself in theaters the weekend it came
Was
out.
it worth it?
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
I love Disney movies, I love Pic that's another one, I love Disney and Pixar movies. I, like, love animated, but specifically, like, Disney and Pixar, like, I'm not a huge fan of other ones, but I love Disney and Pixar movies still. I saw that one, I saw if I'm home, I go see movies because there's really nothing else to do. But I'd say, like, TV and movies for sure. I, like, loved that as a kid. Even, like, playing tennis too,
Yeah.
still playing tennis. I went to tennis camp every summer growing up. I feel like I like a lot of the same things. Oh, also, like, baking.
Okay.
That's a big one. That's a big one, and I was very depressed when I was, like, 12 or 13. I even competed in, like, baking competitions, like, won, like, competitive baker, and was super into it because whenever I was sad, I would just bake something, and now, as an adult, I remember there was something, I was like, "Oh, I should just bake something," and I did, and I was like, "Why do I never do this? This is so nice,"
Like,
and I, like,
relaxing?
forgot. Yeah, yeah, like, it brings a lot of joy to me. I don't like cooking, but baking is like, I love making cookies or, like, cakes or something, like, I love it.
Interesting. Yeah, baking
Yeah.
baking is very therapeutic, isn't it? I've never really got into it, but I know so many people who swear by it.
I mean, during COVID, everyone fucking baked everything.
Yes. Did you
Such a
bake banana
self-soothing
bread?
thing. I did not bake banana bread. I don't know if I made we had a lot of birthdays that happened. It was my mom's birthday, my dad's birthday, all, like my mom's in March, I'm in May, my dad's in June, which is, like, peak COVID. So, I made, birthday cakes for all of us, and that's one thing I, like, really enjoy making my own birthday cake. Like, I really enjoy that process. So, I make cakes twice a year. I make a cake for my birthday, always classic vanilla, and then for Paul's birthday, I always pick one of his favorite desserts that's not a cake, and I turn it into a cake.
Nice. That's such
And
a
I always
cool
try to pick
idea.
something yeah, I don't know. Like, for his favorite ice cream is, like, mint chocolate chip, so I made him, like, a mint chocolate chip ice cream cake.
Wow.
Stuff like that, or
That's
like a
very cool.
pecan pie cake, yeah. Like,
Awesome.
I like to make something really intricate that takes 2 days, and yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
Anyway, your turn.
Right. So, I think my easy answer actually is playing football, playing soccer,
Yeah.
because it's something that I adored. And not just playing, actually, watching soccer as well. I absolutely, it was my big thing. It was almost like my hyperfixation when I was a kid. And I
Yeah.
absolutely loved playing it, like, loved watching it. And that continued into throughout my teens. But I think in recent years, well, not recent years, actually, I haven't played soccer before this year. I hadn't played soccer for probably closing on 10 years. And so I really
Oh,
lost
wow.
track.
Well, you had an injury too.
I had an injury, but that was much, much younger. I was really young when that
Okay.
happened.
How old were you when you had your injury?
I must have been 13, so it was
Okay.
pretty young when
'Cause
that.
I remember that was one of the stories you told when I first met you.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
so that stopped me
Yeah.
playing for a while, but maybe that was it, to be honest. I mean, I did play when I was 15, 16, but that stopped me playing competitively. And yeah, but recently I've rediscovered it. Recently, as we've discussed, I'm not sure if we've discussed it on here, but I set up a soccer team that we play every couple of weeks. Have it? We've not spoken about this?
I know you have a team, but I didn't know that you set it
Oh
up.
yeah, no, 100%. I set it up. Yeah. So
That's
it's
fucking
a
awesome.
Yes Fam team that I was like, you know what? I would absolutely love to get back into playing soccer again regularly. And so I was
I
like,
love that you call it soccer for me.
"It's for the general population." But yeah, no, I'd absolutely love to get into playing again regularly, and I thought, "Why don't I just set it up? Why don't I actually just take the initiative and start doing it?" And we started with about 10 people, and now we've grown the group to closing in on, I think, just over 30 actually, 30 people now.
That's fucking awesome.
We've got our biggest game yet tomorrow, which I can't make annoyingly. Again, I organize it every week, but this is the first time I can't actually make it. So I'm got a concert instead tomorrow. But yeah, our biggest game yet. So it's and I've really rediscovered it, and I absolutely am enjoying playing so much. I think I have attachment to it from the injury,
Yeah,
but also from the gambling. And that leads on to watching it as well. I think I stopped watching it religiously for a couple of years because I think there was just too much pain attached to it because that's what I was gambling on.
yeah.
And again, I've been to 2 games so far, 2 games already this season, and I've loved it. It's just made me feel so good being back. So playing and watching soccer, I think, are 2 things from my childhood that I did lose track of, but I'm very much back on now and enjoying.
That's so cool. I mean, I'm not even shocked because I feel like with football, you've had such a journey with it. Like, you played, you got injured, you used to watch, you used to gamble with it, you go to games, there's lots of you've had so many different journeys with this one thing
Yeah.
that it's interesting to see how it progresses, and I know we talked about that on your birthday episode, and if you haven't listened, go back and listen. That one is sentimental and sappy. It's a good one. So, that's pretty cool. So, I mean, there's so many things you mentioned I wanna talk about more getting into the meat of the episode. First of all, Savita moving in temporarily. I
Yeah.
mean, not crazy, it's
Well,
a really good test. It's a
it
really
is a
good
good test, and it is a little bit crazy. I mean, the conversation has been brought up a couple of times. She's now met the bulk of my family, and it's gone well, barring a couple of slightly racist comments, which
Oh,
I did
no.
warn her about before. I said, "Listen, some of my family, a couple of them have a slightly racist sense of humor. They don't mean it maliciously. It's not because they hate you, but that's just how they are. And
Yeah,
I hope it doesn't come out, but it probably will." And interest half of I think not half, most of my cousins are weirdly dating brown people at the moment, which we clearly have a type.
it's okay. You British people love us brown
I
people.
well,
Let's
clearly, but it's also my American family. My family over in New York are also on that
Oh,
same
really?
wavelength.
It's really funny.
So, but I've seen how those partners have been treated, and it's just my family's sense of humor. They don't mean anything by it. It's like a
Yeah.
test, I guess, to an extent.
To see can
See
you
how
hang.
exactly, how do they react
Yeah,
to it? And
yeah.
can they join it? Can they be racist back to us? And there was a little bit of it went a little bit too far at this dinner with my family. I think it was last week, but otherwise it went well.
Okay.
And
Okay. But
so
you guys are moving in together temporarily. I mean, I know Paul and I did that a couple years ago where we lived together for a month in Arizona before
we'll
a
remember that,
year
yeah.
before we decided to move in together. And it was a really helpful it was like 30 days. It was really interesting to see because we would spend weekends together, we'd spend nights together like a week or two at a time, but never a month straight together. And also we were both working from home, like we were on top of each other 24/7. So it's really interesting to see how it works. In that month, I was like, "Oh, he's a good roommate." Like, he doesn't need to be asked to take out the trash. He, like, keeps everything clean. Thank God Paul is, like, a clean, tidy person. We talked about this last week. But how are you feeling going into the month, and are you when does that start, and how are you feeling
Starts,
going into it?
I think, next Wednesday, is some point next week. So
Okay.
she's gonna start moving her stuff in from the weekend, from Sunday.
Okay.
And I'm a little bit nervous, to be honest. I mean, we just had our 6-month anniversary on Friday last week. So
Okay.
that's a pretty big milestone by my standards, especially in recent years. I haven't had anything that serious or
Yeah.
that long in a long time.
Yeah.
So that was a pretty big milestone, and the idea of her moving in or us moving in together has been thrown around a few times, but not too seriously because I've kind of waved it away that it might be too
It's not the
soon.
time yet
No,
for you,
exactly.
and you'll know.
I agree. I agree. I mean, today, with the whole thing that was happening with my flatmate, I was like, "Listen," I was thinking to myself, "I have people to move in January, but I need her gone now." And I was thinking, "Right, this is it. I'm just gonna ask Savita to move in with me. That's it. I'm gonna ask her to move in with me." But I was
That
thinking
sounds like your BPD.
I know, exactly. And thank God that passed because it is too soon, but
Yeah.
she
I'd
agrees.
say give it at least a year because you
Yeah,
have to see
yeah,
how things vibe out. But the 30 days is a really good test
yeah, and I also need time
to
to
see.
clear out to purge my wardrobe,
Yes,
which
you
might which
do.
might take a year, 6 months or so.
Oh my god. Did you purge
I
anything
did.
this week?
I actually did. I got rid of a bunch of shoes,
Okay.
which was, a pretty big thing, I guess, because my shoe box has been overflowing. It still is. Just looking at it, it still is overflowing, but it was much worse. So I got rid of some shoes. I got rid of, a couple of t-shirts that I just don't wear. So I did my homework to an extent. I started.
Okay, but can you do it more? Especially Savita moving in, you, like, need space for her.
I can do more. I can do more.
Okay.
How
I'm putting on
much?
your
I
list
mean,
again.
how much? I don't know. I mean, she's gonna be basically living out of a suitcase for the next month. She's basically the plan is she's bringing all her stuff, of course, but she's gonna keep most of it, like 95% of it in my garage,
Okay.
and then the rest of it she'll have in a suitcase in my bed. So,
Yeah, but living out of a suitcase for a month sucks. At least give her, like, 1
oh,
to
of
3
course, I'll give
drawers.
her drawer space. Of course, I will.
I'm just saying. Girl needs the space.
Drawer space
Girl
in
needs
her
some space, and
suitcase.
when she listens to this and she's gonna be like, "Sasha was fighting for me. Give Savita the space she deserves. Purge your closet." I'm in the middle of a purge too, so
I
and Paul hates it the way you hate it.
right. Does he not do it?
Yeah. He never purges because I told you this whole story last week, but yeah, he doesn't really do it, but, like, once a year, I like to do a deep purge where we go through
Yeah.
everything we own. Right now, we got, like, all this stuff on the ottoman and shit we're giving away, or I have to figure out how to get rid of.
I could really do with less stuff right now, and the topic of this conversation is me getting rid of stuff, so
That's
thanks
true,
for the
that's
offer,
true.
but
Yeah, I mean, that's fair, that's totally fair, but I'd say, like, definitely go into this month with Savita with intention. I mean, for me, if I were you, I wouldn't necessarily have the intention of going in, making sure everything's perfect. I'd say the intention for me, if this was me, would be, like, going in and, okay, seeing how do we work well as roommates, and do we mesh well as roommates? Do our living styles do they coexist nicely or not?
yeah,
That's what I would do, but do you have intentions going into it?
I think just that really is just seeing how we live together and seeing if
Yeah,
that is a possibility for the future, which of course it does have to be if this is gonna work out.
yeah,
So, yeah, it'll be very interesting. We over the summer, she pretty much lived here anyway because she
okay,
wasn't working. She works at a school, so over the summer she had pretty much a month and a half, 2 months where she didn't need to be up in the morning, so she would sleep here, stay here while I worked, then we go out in the evening. So she pretty much lived here anyway.
got it. Okay,
But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it goes, her properly living here, eating here, staying here 24 hours.
yeah, and also that's something to bring up with your roommates too when you have your little roommate meeting is you need to bring up with them like, "Hey, by the way, Savita's gonna be here for a month." Um, because it is their home too, it is an extra person, so I would definitely bring that up with them as well.
Yeah.
But as far as Wheel of Life goes, we've talked a lot about physical environment. Is there, like, another area that's feeling like what's going well right now?
What's going well? So,
Yeah.
do you know, it's interesting because having said that things are going really well at the moment, I think there's a lot that's not. Over the
Yeah.
last week or so, my wheel has really, I think it's not individual things. I think just the bar has dropped enormously. Or there's just, the scores across the board have really dropped. And there's been a lot of things that I have been struggling with. I mean, what's going well, we've already touched on it already. My relationship is going really well at the moment.
Yeah.
I think my finances actually over the last week is something that's really I think I'm starting to get it figured out. And
Okay.
obviously we spoke about the tax thing and how I've paid off that sort of outstanding tax, which is amazing. And,
Yeah.
that's going to free up a huge amount of money for me every month, having lived very difficultly for the last, is that a word? Frugally
Yeah,
for the
you've been
last,
frugal.
yeah. very frugally because I've had to. So that's gonna open up a lot, but also I basically made a list. I think we might have spoken about this before. I made a list of all of my monthly expenditure, things that have to come out every month. So that's
Yeah.
bills, everything, my gym membership. I thought, where can I cut money to allow myself to live more comfortably? This was one of those things. The other thing I've come to the conclusion of is my gym membership. I'm spending a huge amount of money on my gym. I'm spending, I guess the equivalent would be maybe 100 I think it's $175 probably is what I'm paying.
Oh, wow. That's like a luxury
It
gym.
is, and it is a really nice gym. And so when I moved into my apartment, I wanted that. I wanted somewhere that I'm gonna pay a lot of money and I'll have the incentive to go, right? And it worked.
Yeah.
I was working out constantly.
Are you still going every day?
I'm not every day, I'm going maybe 3 times a week, which is still better than nothing, and
Yeah.
then I'm going for runs. So I'm still keeping very active, not as active as I was before.
Right.
But I looked at that and I thought, so at my gym, I'm spending a lot of money. That's money that could be going on food, it could be going on dinners, it could be going on all these different things that I could be using that money for. Yes, I'm
Right.
enjoying working out and my physical health is important, but I only use the gym. Like, I only use the gym section of my gym. I don't use the sauna. I
Y
don't use the swimming pool or the spa. I don't use the tennis courts. I spend £20 a month extra to use the tennis courts, and I haven't used them once. So,
Okay.
I
So maybe
basically
does it mean switching to less?
so what I did is basically because 'cause I'm in a one-year contract with them, and I'm only, like, 3
Okay.
months in, so I wrote to them and said, "Is there anything we could do? I'm struggling. Can you help me out?" And they said, "Yeah, we can cancel it for you." And so I've canceled my membership, which will come into effect at the end of October, so I do have to pay 1 more month, which is fine. And after that, I'm just gonna join a standard kind of, I don't know what the equivalent is. Is it called, what do you guys have? Is it Planet Fitness or
Yeah,
something like
Planet
that? Yeah,
Fitness.
like
It's
just
like
a,
the
yeah,
budget gym.
it's gonna cost me maybe £30 a month,
Okay.
and that's because all I'm using is the gym section, and that's
Yeah.
all I need
If
from
that's
it.
all you're using, that's all you should pay for.
Yeah, I think I've used the sauna and the spa and the swimming pool maybe 6 times since I joined. And the tennis court's not at all, and it's not worth spending all that money, literally maybe £100 extra a month just for things that I'm not using. So,
Yeah.
yeah, so
That makes sense.
finances are looking very much on the up, which is huge for me because I've been really struggling.
Awesome. Yeah. Huge 180 from the last I mean, from the beginning of this podcast, what, 9, 10 weeks ago, or probably a little more than that. It's huge improvement
Yeah,
there. That's awesome.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, no, that's pretty big. Other than that, I think that's pretty much all I can really report on at the moment.
I have 2 questions.
Okay.
Number 1, are you waking up at 6:06 every day?
So, I've woken up 3 times at 6:06. So,
Okay.
was it 2 or 3 last week? But I
It was
think
2
it's,
last
so
week.
as an improvement.
Amazing.
50%
Okay,
more.
great. That's fucking awesome. Okay, 6:06, and also how's the not drinking going?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's going. It's still going. I
Okay,
have been
perfect.
in positions where it's been quite hard. So I went to my friend's birthday party on Friday last week, and it was in a pub. He'd rented out this section in a pub, and there were maybe 30, 40 people there. I only knew him and 2 other people. And in the past, I would have absolutely thrived in that scenario, drinking, going to talk to everyone. And I was sitting there with a glass of water in my hand, and I was really struggling. I was like, for
Mhm.
some reason, I just have this mental block that I can't go and talk to everyone. And sometimes I have that ability sober, but most of the time I do.
Yeah,
And I know that I can do it, but there was something in my head that was just like holding me back. Maybe it's because I was tired or something. I don't know what it was, but I was thinking, if I'm gonna stay here for more than an hour and a half, I'm gonna need a
yeah.
drink. I'm gonna have to because I'm not enjoying this right now. I'm just bored. I was sitting there bored talking to the 2 people that I knew. But I didn't. I ended up leaving after about 10 PM, so after I was there for about 2.5 hours, and I met some cool people. I didn't go and talk to everyone. I wasn't the life of the party like I used to be, but I
Yeah,
know I can do that. I know it's just I have to be in the right headspace, and I just wasn't that night, and that's gonna
and
happen.
that's okay.
That's gonna happen.
That's
I
okay.
think that's the good thing about alcohol, I guess, or also a bad thing is that you can not be in the mood one night. You can be not in the mood to socialize, but if you have a beer or 2, suddenly you're in the mood, right? And it fixes it. Whereas when you're sober, sometimes you'll be in the mood, and when you're not in the mood, there's nothing you can do about it. Well,
Yeah.
there is, you can
Yeah.
change your state and take control, but it's very different, and it's gonna happen sometimes. So I just took ownership of that, and I was like, "You know what? It is what it is."
I think so. I think so, and it's not every day is gonna be your day
No.
with anything. With literally, that's the whole point of this podcast is that sometimes in every area of life, like, some areas are going great, some areas need more attention and care, and not every day is gonna be your day, and that's fine, but you still went, you still did it, you stayed for 2.5 hours, you didn't have a drink.
Yeah. I was at home afterwards as well. This is the nice thing about being sober is that I can go to these things, and instead of having to spend over an hour on the train or a bus, I can just drive home in 30 minutes.
Mhm. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome. It's like not having to worry about designated driving, being able to do anything. It's nice.
Yeah, and I honestly I would also put my general positive mental state and I'm very mentally clear right now. You know, my
Mhm.
thoughts are very clear. I'm not really very anxious. Not much is getting to me unless it's really important. And I would
Yeah.
largely put that down to the lack of alcohol. I really think it is a major factor.
Yeah, and also, I mean, it's saving you a ton of money too in the same way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's saving a ton.
Yeah. Oh, a lot of money. A lot of money. But yeah, so that's me. How are you?
Uh, I'm okay. Like things are some things same thing. Some things are great, some things are not. The thing I've been really challenged with oops, I don't know what the fuck happened there. Something I've really been challenged with that we've talked about on our little Friday spinoff is my physical environment has been feeling really just not good. We have pushed our timeline back for getting the apartment to it's gonna be we say it's gonna be Q1 of next year. I don't think it's gonna be that. I think with timing of everything that needs to happen before we get this place, I think it's looking Q2 at the earliest, which basically means Q3. So I'm gonna be in this apartment for another year. It's a tiny one-bedroom for the 2 of us, which I don't mind. I don't mind, like, the small space. There's I love the building so much. I feel like we both use the amenities a ton, like, we use the gym every day, the pool ev or I use the pool every day, co-working spaces, like, the location's amazing. The apartment itself, I had a couple of thoughts when we had to push our timeline back for getting the new place, and the 3 thoughts I had were, number 1, how the fuck am I gonna live with this couch for another year? Because I hate this couch so much. Number 2 is I've wanted a dog my entire fucking life, and now I have to wait another year and a half or however long to get a dog. And number 3 is, which is the positive one, okay, it gives me another year to save for my furniture that I really want. And I had a pretty intense breakdown. I don't know how much of this was like the period and PMSing. It's not my period time yet, but it is the time that I'm like more emotional. I don't know how much of that was me just being emotional and in my cycle and how much of it is, like, actual, but I had a pretty intense breakdown last week about just not liking the things in my space. I really don't I don't enjoy my space, and we got to a point where I was like, I could just get a new couch. I could just do it, and Paul and I we, like, picked one out that we actually like. And I was thinking, I was like, "Okay, well, I could" my sister is also an interior designer, right? This is something to throw out. So, I could get a couch I like right now, have to pay retail price for it, live with it for a year, and then move it to the new spot. So, get something that I know I'm gonna be able to move with. But my sister's an interior designer and can get me everything at cost. She could get me everything, like, half off,
Nice.
right?
Wow.
So, it's like I can be patient and wait and get what I really want at half the cost, or I can get something that I like a lot now to be more comfy now, and I'm gonna make this decision when I'm on my period because that's the best time for reflection, so I'm not gonna make this decision right now, but we have a couch that we have 2 options, right? We get the couch that we like, that'll be able to move with us to the next place, or the alternative that Paul and I came up with was we just changed, like, the rug, the art, maybe, like, one of the side tables, just, like, visually change
Mm,
it up. Maybe I'll paint the coffee table, like, just change up
yeah.
the visuals of it and hope and clean the couch. We have blankets over it right now because, number 1, the fabric is so uncomfortable that it's not comfy to sit on, and number 2, there are some stains on the couch from, I think, a drink or something, and we couldn't get it out, but I'm like, "Maybe if I clean the couch and we take these blankets off, I'll like it
Mhm.
more." So maybe, like, changing up the visuals. So I think I'm gonna make that decision when I'm on my period, but it is something I'm feeling really challenged with because I'm just like, I don't wanna live in a space that I don't love for another
Of
year,
course.
and how can I make it more pleasurable to live in it for another year? And then the other thing that Paul and my mom both said was, for the last couple months, I've been working from the apartment, which is helpful with the podcast, right? Because, like, sometimes I'm recording or taking video content, whatever. So I'm in the apartment all the time. And Paul and my mom were like, "You should leave the apartment to go work." Like, I used to do it all the time, but I stopped. They're like, "Go leave the apartment and go work in the co-working space. Go to a coffee shop and work. Like, just get out of the apartment. Like, it's easier to hate a space when you're in it all the
Paul
time."
does that, doesn't he? He goes to the co-working space, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, yesterday I did that. I was in the and I was very productive. I got so much done in the co-working space. It was really nice. So, I might I don't know. I think I'm gonna make the decision about what I'm gonna change up next week, but also just making sure to get out of the apartment more. And
Towards.
I don't know. I don't know, because part of me is just like, maybe changing it up visually is gonna help, and the other part of me is if you get a couch now I don't know, I have mixed emotions because it's more just I can't tell if this decision is one of 2 things. It's either something we talked about a couple weeks ago, where is it, am I prioritizing short-term dopamine versus long-term goals?
Mm.
Or is it me prioritizing my pleasure in this moment as opposed to being miserable for another year in my home space? Is it gonna make my life that much better?
Yeah.
And that's the I don't know which one it is. Is it am I prioritizing short-term dopamine, or is it important for me to prioritize my pleasure for a whole other year?
I mean, I think but a combination of both is important, right? I think I really like the idea of switching up how the place looks, putting up new artwork, cleaning the sofa, just changing different things so that when you walk in, it's not the same place. How long have you been there now?
2
2
years.
years. So it's not the same place that you've been walking into every day for 2 years. So I think that is a really nice idea. And I don't think that's a case of chasing short-term dopamine. I think that is just changing your environment. If you don't like something, change it. If you don't like your environment, you can change it. And that doesn't
Yeah.
necessarily mean going and buying a new place or renting a new place. It just means you can do something like what I mean, I wouldn't have even thought about what you've suggested. I think that's a really nice idea. If you are stuck there for a year, I mean, do you see it as being stuck? Is that a bit extreme?
Yes and no. Yes and no. Like, in the building, no, I love the building, and the thing that's really gotten nice about being here 2 years is that I know my neighbors now. Like, I every time I go somewhere in the building or even in the neighborhood, like, I see my neighbors and I know them, and the community is super nice, love the building. The apartment itself, bedroom, cool. Outdoor space, cool. It's the living room. It's, like,
Yeah.
specifically this room. And is it because I work here every day? Is it because I just don't like the stuff that we have?
Yeah. Well, if you don't like somewhere, spend less time there. And I know that's easier said than done because it's literally your home. But
Yeah.
as you say, you're spending most of the day there working. So if you can
Yeah.
change your environment in that regard, surely that will make a huge difference.
I think it'll help for
At
sure,
least
and I
try it.
think it's gonna have to be a yeah, exactly. I tried it yesterday, it was nice. It's definitely got to be something that I figure out a system for. I think it's definitely gonna be a combination of spending less time here, but then also changing up some things that like, I might just I don't know, I'm gonna make this decision about what I wanna change up, if it's gonna be the couch or if it's gonna be, like, the rug, the art, blah, blah, blah. I'm gonna make that decision next week, but it's gonna be a combination of making a decision to change something up and spending less time here.
Yeah.
So, that's where I'm at right now,
What do you
and
do
we'll see.
what do you do in the evenings? So let's say you finish work, you finish everything in the apartment. Do you go out most of the time, most of the evenings, or do you stay in?
If the weather's nice, I'll go for a walk.
Yeah, right.
If the weather's nice, I'll go for a walk. If the weather is not nice, I will be here,
Okay.
pretty
Because
much.
for me, I work from home. as well at the moment. 99% of the time, I do have the option of working from the office, but it's a long way away. So I'm
Yeah.
stuck in this room where we're recording this and in my apartment, and I love this apartment. I love it to bits. That's why I bought it. I love it. It's a great space. But at the end of the day, I just want to get out of here. I get sick
Yeah.
of this and I walk into this room when I come back from wherever I've been in the evening and I'm like, I've just got negative association with it. But for
Yeah.
me, the moment I finish work, I have to get out, whether that's going for a walk, whether that's going and being social. So I always feel the need to be out every evening in some capacity. And if I
Right.
don't do that, if I end up staying in these same four walls all day without leaving at all, usually I'll pop out to grab lunch because I never keep things in my fridge. I usually go out and get it every day. So I do leave at least once. But if I don't get out in the evening after working all day, I just feel like I go crazy. Like I feel so mentally blocked up. And
Yeah.
it's not what we're built to do. We're not built to stay in the same four walls all day or for most of our life. We're meant to
Yeah.
go out. And yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah. I think that's really important as well.
Yeah. So I think it's gonna be a combination of getting out more and then changing up the environment so I can live with it for another year or year and a half or whatever it's gonna be. That's something I've been challenged with, and, I mean, I really want my dog. I understand why Paul wants to wait, but I feel sad about it because it's something I've wanted for so long, and I just feel like this has been pushed off again and again and again, and I mean, like, I understand it logically, it's just I feel sad about it, like, I'm tired of waiting.
But and again, I think that is you did touch on it with the instant sort of quick dopamine hits. It is the instant gratification you're looking for, and delayed gratification is so much sweeter. Waiting for
I guess
something,
so.
and if it keeps being put off, eventually when it does come, it feels so much better.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess so. I don't know, we'll have to see. I mean, right now, the agreement we came to was 6 months after we move into the new place, we can get one. So, I'm looking at the earliest, my 28th birthday, which I feel sad about. Like, that's I don't really wanna wait that long. Like, I get it, like, I need to get basically, like, the travel out of my system before then and all that, but it makes me sad having to wait another year and a half, like, when I've already wanted this literally my entire life. So, it's a little frustrating, but I get it. I get it, but at the same time, it's but why? Like, why do we have to wait for these, like, stupid
Yeah.
things? Not stupid things, but it's like, why do we have to wait for this, like, this timeline when
Mm.
we really could have one now?
Yeah.
What's the point? So,
Yeah.
I don't know. It just seems silly to
Would
me.
you
And
feel
it just
comfortable with one right now?
I think and then within the next year or so, I'd like one. Like, I think I just wanna do a little bit more travel before, but, like, we're only going and doing crazy trips, like, once or twice a year, and we're doing, like, weekenders and whatever. I don't know if I feel comfortable getting one right this second, but in general, yeah. Like, I think ask me Q1 and I'm gonna want one really bad because
Yeah.
I just remember last tax season, I was by myself and I was like, "I just feel so lonely all the time. I wonder if I'd feel less lonely if I had a dog."
Yeah.
And this was the exact same thought process I had most days growing up because I'm
Right.
an only child. Like, I'm an only child. My household was not the most pleasant and peaceful when I didn't have siblings to lean on, and I just remember this is like, I wanted a dog so bad because I couldn't have siblings, and it's would I feel less lonely if I had a pet?
Yeah.
So, it's something I've been like this feeling I've been wrestling with has literally been my entire life. So, I don't it's like a feeling I'm used to, but I don't know. It just makes me feel sad that I'm still having to wait and it keeps getting pushed. I'm like, I'm a real ass adult. Like, I've been a full ass adult for however long. I've lived by myself or with roommates or whatever since I was 18, and I've been like a full self-sufficient adult. I've been financially completely independent for 2 years, but before then I was like a normal regular adult. Like, I had some help from my parents before then for the 2 years prior, but
Yeah.
because New York ain't cheap.
Mhm.
But it's like, how long do you really have to wait to get what you want? And I think the most frustrating thing about it is that these things that I want, the couch and the dog, right, are the reason that my timeline and keeps getting pushed back. It's not even my own timeline, and I think that's what that pisses me off the most about it is that I'm I have to put what I want on pause. I have to pause having the things I want because of other people's timelines, and I think that's what gets me the most is, like, why is like, why the things that I want, like, why do I have to be the one to pause everything and pause something I've been wanting forever, or 2 things I've wanted for a long time because other people's timelines
Right.
are keep getting pushed back. And it feels like my life is under control of other people, and I really hate that feeling. I really hate it.
Yeah, no, that's like, I completely get that because if you feel you don't have control.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't have control over my own fucking life. I can't do what I want because of other people's timeline, and that really sucks. So it's like, what do I do? Do I go out and do it anyway and say, "Fuck you and your timelines, I'm gonna do my own shit," or do I just be patient and go along with it? I don't know.
But do you think also that that's just part of going through life with a partner as well? That you do have to coordinate and correlate with each other?
Yeah.
That's just,
Yeah.
maybe just part of a relationship and a long-term relationship.
Yeah. I mean, switch dog to baby, right? Very different conversation, but similar.
Right.
Like, one of us is ready for a baby, the other one is not.
Yeah.
You have to you can go and do the thing, but it's better to wait till you guys are both on the same page, right? So, the dog thing, that's what I'm saying is I'm okay pushing it off. Like, I'm sad about it, but I understand where he's coming from, and I get it, but I am sad about it because it's just something I've wanted for so literally my entire life, and I just thought I'd have one by now, but it's like the couch thing. I think that's where I'm like, why do I have to wait
Right.
because of the apartment timeline getting pushed back? And like that, he's super understanding about. Paul's once he saw how upset I was about it, he's "Let's go." We went to the furniture store last weekend and he's, "Let's go look. Let's go see and see how we like everything." He's like, "If you want a new couch, let's get a new couch."
Yeah. I mean,
He's like, "If it's gonna make you happy, let's do it." So he's not like telling me I can't
no,
do some
sure.
like yeah.
Yeah. So in that regard, it sounds like that is a possibility, but it also sounds like you have options, not just a new one now, but also changing the way things look and changing the environment in that regard.
Yeah. Yeah. So I might try it out and see. I don't know. Cause part of me is just like, I wanna feel comfy in my own home. And I don't know. It's something I'm gonna sit on and then make that decision. Yeah, and the couch I did pick out as soon as they have it in stock. So if I purchase it, I can get it in a week.
Nice. Okay.
Cause that was like the other thing is if I order with my sister, it's gonna take minimum like 3 to 6 months. It's like
Right.
by that point, you might as
Okay.
well just wait until we move into the new
Well,
place.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's where I'm at right now, but
Well, on the
I don't
sofa,
know, we'll
it
see.
definitely it sounds like you have not a plan, but you have a couple of plans and courses that you could take, and both of which could potentially be the solution.
Yeah, either way, either it could be the solution. And it also, what if I change up all the art and the art in the rug and
Mm.
change it up visually and I'm still not happy? Like maybe it's not about I don't know. Then I'll have to see what
Yeah,
happens.
you cross that bridge when it comes to it, but I
Yeah.
think it could make a difference.
Yeah, it really could. It really could just have a little refresh, even if I like paint stuff and just make it like change up how it looks. Like maybe it'll make things feel better. And I do need to get out of the apartment more and not be here as much.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
that's the plan for the next week is spend more time out of the apartment. It's gonna be a little bit challenging. There's a hurricane coming this week,
Oh,
so
nice. Cool.
getting out of the apartment's gonna be a little hard this
Are
week.
you there in if there's a hurricane, like, there's no danger to you up in on the like, level that you're on?
No, not for flooding,
Yeah.
but if we I mean, it's only a level 3,
Okay.
so it's gonna be like thunderstorms for a while for a
So
week
it's
or
it's kind of
something,
like a
but
pussy hurricane.
yeah, literally. Like, it's nothing crazy. But if we have to evacuate, if, like, our section of town has to evacuate, then we have to leave.
Okay.
But no concerns really for flooding on my floor. It's more just, like, making sure everything's off the balcony, and that's it, really. Might not be able to leave the apartment building and not be able to use a pool, which might make me a little stir crazy anyway, especially considering what we're talking about,
Yes.
but
True.
it is what it is.
But
So,
that's
I don't know,
very
I guess
temporary.
It's very temporary, and also hurricanes are nice for 2 reasons. Number 1 is because I don't have FOMO for being outside, so I get
Mm.
so much work done. I get so much work done. And the second is it's hurricane party, so everyone in the building, like, they're like, "Let's hang."
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, it's nice in that way, and, we'll see. I guess my homework is to just get out of the apartment more, and then I make the decision about what I'm gonna do within the next, like, 1 to 2 weeks, and we'll see.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let me
Yeah.
know.
Oh, I will. Okay, cool. Alright, so your homework, I'll text you this too. You have to have a roommate meeting, go out and do fun or have fun and talk to them about what's going on. You gotta clear out some more space in your closet and in your drawers and wake up at 6:06. We're shooting for 4 days next week.
Okay. Or we can do 7. We'll see.
Or we could do
Shoot for the
7.
stars, and even if you miss, you land. Wait, no, it's the other way around. Shoot for the
Shoot for the
moon.
moon and you land on the stars. Okay, cool. We'll see you guys next week on this podcast, the Mastermind Moments podcast. I don't know.
Yeah. Goodbye.
Goodbye. We hope you enjoyed this episode.
Don't forget to subscribe, leave us a review, and follow along on social media.
If you would like us to help you mastermind something in your life, please send us a message.
We'll see you next week on the Mastermind Moments podcast.